Oh yeah, that's.
And we are live. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Eric Wilson. Today, joined by my two co-hosts, Colin Alcabes and Will Cohen. Today, we're going to be going live about an hour and 15 minutes ahead of the Rangers' next game against the Calgary Flames. It is a big game. The start of the Western Canada road trip. I know the road trip did technically start against Seattle. But we're in Canada now. We got a couple of pretty tough games coming up. Calgary doesn't have the best record so far, but as we've seen against a couple of our games this season, even when teams aren't the best, the Rangers still somehow find a way to lose. So we're going to be discussing the game, giving a little preview and analysis, answering your guys' questions. But before we really get into it, make sure everyone likes, subscribes, ring that bell so you don't miss a notification. Follow all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers on both Instagram and X. And we can really just get into things. We already got some people in the chat. John, what's going on? He's like, once again, hyped that Colin is back.
Right on cue, right on cue. Good to see you, John.
Of course. And he says, let's go Rangers, baby. Of course, let's go Rangers. While we wait for people to fill into the chat and start asking us questions, we got to do our daily routine. What jerseys are you boys wearing?
I'm rocking the Panarin tonight. With how well he's been playing, it was time for me to break it out. I've been trying to hold it off, but he's just made it impossible.
What about you, Will?
I have three jerseys here, 2 Panarin and 1 Yager. I'm wearing the Panarin, the reverse retro from last year, the 2.0. I never wear the Yager jersey because it's cursed. I've never won. They've never won when I wear it, so I only wear the 2 Panarin ones.
Well, you two are both wearing Panarin. I don't have a jersey on because I was really feeling Panarin today. I think he's been our best forward so far, but similarly to your Yager jersey, my Panarin jersey is cursed. We always lose when I wear it, so I'm just wearing my Bread Man t-shirt for the evening. It's the only way I can rep him without just unintentionally causing our demise. So we're all wearing Panarin today. If that's a sign for anything, it means he's going to have a phenomenal game, maybe a hat trick. Who knows?
I have seen a Panarin hat trick before. It was sick.
We got a couple people in the chat. Everyone, as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns that you want us to discuss, just leave it in the chat, and I'll be sure to touch upon it.
I have a concern real quick.
Is he going to talk about that Kel McCarr goal? Because that was
great. Oh my goodness! Holy smoke! That backhand was sexy. I just witnessed a murder. He just murdered Sorokin.
That was crazy. Goodness. I know me and Will got the frozen frenzy on with every team in action tonight, where we could not give ourselves the break from play. I know we both got it on behind our monitors while getting the live stream going, but that was nasty. I'm hoping to see that from Fox tonight. I'd love to see that.
Oh my God!
A goal against the Islanders is a goal for the Rangers. That's the way that I look at it. Christopher's here in the chat. He says, "Sup, boys? Is it Mika March yet?"
Can't come soon enough.
It cannot come soon enough. But Zibanejad has been on an absolute tear. I think he's like tied for second in points. I think he's averaging a point per game, so 5 points in 5 games. I don't know the goals to assist ratio, but he's playing very, very well. A lot of our offenses, Panarin is the one that's over a point per game. I think he's at 7 and 5. And then like Zibanejad, Kreider, Fox are all at 5 and 5.
Yeah,
Zibanejad's 5 and 5 too. Panarin's the only one who has 7.
Yeah. Panarin has 7, Zibanejad 5, Fox 5, Kreider 5, and then Hedl 4. Those are the top 5 right now.
The top 6 is playing very well, as well as Adam Fox. Logan here says, Breadman, goal and an assist tonight. Is it too much to ask for more? Like 2 goals?
Maybe. I'd like to see a little more production from everybody else. We know Brett can do it, but the key to success in the NHL is depth, and you need depth scoring. So I'd like to see somebody else get on the score sheet. I'd like to see Mika pot his first of the season. I know he had one against the Blue Jackets that got taken back, but I'd like to see him pot one tonight. I think Hedl's been skating really well, shooting the puck well. I think he can get one tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Hedl exploded last game. Going into the last game, every one of the kids only had 1 point to their names. Then Lafreniere scored again. Kakko scored for the first time. And then Hedl just popped out of nowhere with 3 assists. It was crazy.
And they were nice, too. They weren't just like give the guy a puck and he goes and does his thing. They were all nice passes.
It's like
his
You
The
go
first
first.
assist to Panarin, oh my goodness, was beautiful. That was disgusting. Like my jaw was wide open, and Panarin's shot was even better too. I mean, good lord.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up that crazy stat where when all three of the kids score at least 1 point, the Rangers are 22-0-2. It's like
it's a good stat. That's a good stat right there.
Their success is very dependent on the Rangers, or the Rangers' success is dependent on the kids' success, I should say.
The more we get them going, the better off we'll be. I mean, that's been everybody's takeaway, whether it's us or Vince Mercogliano or Steve Alacata or anybody. It's once the kids get going, this team has so much depth. It's incredible. Do we think any of the third line or the fourth liners get there first tonight, other than Will Cooley, of course? I could see Jimmy VC if he's playing sneak one in, or maybe a Nick Bonino goal tonight.
I want to see a Nick Bonino goal. I'm having him on my parlay again. Nick Bonino goal.
Bonino didn't practice yesterday. I haven't seen any updates as of today, but hopefully he's back. I know it was just an illness related sitting out of practice, but Christopher here in the chat does say that hot take for the night, Wheeler gets on the board. To see Blake Wheeler get his first point of the season would be very, very nice.
I like it.
Yeah, I know we just uploaded a recent video just yesterday, me, Colin, and Anthony discussing Wheeler, how he's had a little bit of a rough start to begin his tenure with New York. Obviously, it's only been 5 games. Very too early to make any judgment like right then and there, but the sooner he gets on the board, the better. Logan's here in the chat. He also says that Mika Zibanejad is going to get his first of the season.
Same wavelength.
I hope so. I love Zibanejad when he scores goals. They're always beautiful. Roderick says that today he wore his Ryan Callahan Winter Classic jersey.
Ooh, that's clean.
That is an absolute classic of a jersey. I have a Callahan jersey, just a regular one from back in the day.
I also have one.
I don't. Yeah. I didn't.
Roderick with a joke. Hopefully all the lights will work tonight. That was pretty funny against Seattle. I know Panarin had a funny comment where he was like, I like playing in the dark because it makes it harder for the goalies to see the puck.
Hey, it seems to be working for him, man. 2 goals in that game, and they were both absolute rips. So, I mean, whatever it takes, we'll turn off the lights in MSG on one side if it means that we keep seeing goals like that.
If Panarin's going to keep scoring, we'll do whatever it takes to make it happen, you know? Roderick once again says, no Rangers waived goals tonight. Yeah, if the goals could count, that'd be preferable. That's happened a lot so far this season. It's a little unfortunate, but I don't know. I am hopeful going into this game. Will, I do want to ask you about this that John just said. He feels the same about Wheeler, very critical. He's gritty, but doesn't get enough recognition because of the stat sheet. I know you weren't in the episode yesterday where we discussed Wheeler, so just quickly run down your opinion on him so far through 5 games.
In all honesty, I really haven't noticed him. I know, like on Money Puck, that third line of him, Cooley, and Trocheck.
Did we lose Will again?
We might have technical difficulties.
Am I back?
Your voice is back.
Your voice is.
All
there
right.
he is.
You're good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always damn happens. All right. I really haven't noticed him when I'm watching the game. Like, I didn't really notice him against.
The internet does not want Will to answer this question about Blake Wheeler.
The technical difficulties are going crazy.
That's all right. He'll get it figured out on.
Am I back?
Testing. Can you hear us?
Testing. I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can. All right. We'll try it again.
I was just about to text you guys. All right. For the 3rd time now, I haven't really noticed Wheeler. I didn't really notice Wheeler in the game against the Kraken. I haven't really noticed him all in the 5 games, but there's some plays I've noticed him, like against Columbus. I know he almost had a goal. But I think, I mean, I don't really, like I said, I haven't noticed him to like have an opinion on him. But I know that the third line of him, Cooley, and Trocheck is top 10 in 5v5 play. So they're not playing bad. I don't think he's playing bad, but him being a little more noticeable and getting on the score sheet more would really help the Rangers a lot because obviously that's scoring depth right there. So it'd be perfect. Then you have three scoring lines.
Yeah, I'd also like to point out that every time we're critical of somebody, they tend to just turn around and shut us up in a big way. And that was part of our plan, right, Eric? Is to be critical of him so he turns around and he scores a goal tonight.
Oh, of course. It's all calculated. It's strategic. Everything bad that we ever said about Lafreniere heading into that season opener, it was all just a ploy to get him to score the first goal of the season for the Rangers.
We know they play our videos as motivation. You know, they're watching the live streams. They're watching it right now.
Of course.
What's up, Panarin?
Wheeler's sitting in the chat watching us dog him, and he's going to come out there and score a goal like 10 seconds in. But Colin, I'm not going to ask you about Wheeler because I heard you talk about him for like 15 minutes yesterday. To all the fans out there, go check out that episode we recorded yesterday. I think it was a pretty good one, just a really strong breakdown of Wheeler so far. We'll keep going through the comments that you guys are leaving for us. Please continue to give us comments. It provides us with more things to discuss. Christopher says, you guys are going to be up late tonight, huh? Benefit of being a West Coast Rangers fan. Yeah. Do I want to stay up till 12:30 a.m. watching the Rangers? No. But am I going to do it anyway? Of course, because I love the Rangers. All I'll say is if you're trying to flex, it's all fun and games till it's a regular 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time game and puck drop happens and it's 4 o'clock and you're still sitting at work, you know?
This man, you're firing shots back. I love the late night games personally. Even if it isn't the Rangers playing, I'll stay up and I'll watch any games that are on. Especially, I love the 10:30 starts here. So I have no problem with a late night start because I watch hockey until there is nothing left. Like I'll stay up and watch all the games.
Oh, of course. I'm always just poking fun. I didn't mean to offend you, Christopher, if I did.
That's nuts, Colin.
We got another question here. Mika scoring 2 tonight. I could very well see it happening. Mika Zibanejad is a great goal scorer, and I'm honestly shocked that we're 5 games in and he hasn't scored yet. I mean, he technically has, but it got called back for offsides, so technically no. But I think the Zibanejad goals are going to continue to flow. Kreider's been scoring. Kakko just recently found the score sheet. So that first line is buzzing. Before we continue on, Colin, just that first line of Kakko, Zibanejad, Kreider, what are your thoughts on them so far?
I think they've looked good. I think they've been one of our stronger lines. Obviously, Kakko, Kreider. You know what you're getting with Kreider. He's a net front god. He's a tipping machine, and he drives his plays in that power forward role. I feel like Mika's looked good, and his passing has looked strong. I think he needs to shoot it a little bit more. I feel like all the attempts, except for Panarin, are pretty low. I'm actually pulling that up right now, but I feel like I'd love to see them shoot, all of them just shoot more. I feel like that's the key to success is just peppering the goalie with shots, low chances, high chances, even the medium scoring chances. If you look at the thing that Steve Alakette posts after the games, we aren't just scoring on the high quality chances, and sometimes you sneak a bad shot past a goalie. You know, there's no such thing as really a bad shot. So I think that the key to their success is more shots. I mean, Panarin leading the team in shots, but he's also nice second in goals behind Kreider, which makes sense. But Kreider's tied for third in shots, you know. So Mika's at 14. I'd like to see him get those numbers up and maybe a little less passing, a little more shooting. He's got 5 assists. So the passes are still clearly working, but I'd like to see him let that rip and find the back of the twine.
Mm-hmm. And Christopher, I see what you just said in the chat. I'm not going to pull it up because I don't want to expose you on the internet, but I hope things get better for you, buddy. And we appreciate the support. DNK says for 800,000, I let him ride on that line. The upside is too good. In regards to Wheeler, I don't really see that much of an upside. I know that stat with the projected goals percentage it's up there, but I feel like there just could be someone else, you know, that could be better.
Yeah, but at that price point, I feel like it's a bargain. Even if he's not, I get the plus minus right now is definitely not.
Yeah, but we're paying 800,000 for nothing, you know.
It's not nothing.
Not doing any. All right. Tell me one play this season that Wheeler has stood out to you.
He almost had a goal against Columbus. Almost had a goal.
In the same game that he later got benched in for skating horribly.
It's pretty rock star in my opinion. Honestly.
His time on ice is also low. I'm saying it's because it's just he's not getting the same ice time he was, so he's not as big of a factor when he is out there.
Yeah.
He's
This
also
guy
old. Somebody said it on the comments, and I agree. He's 37. Like, we got to kind of pump the brakes. He's on the back end of his career.
still scored 55 points last season, though.
Precisely, but I'm saying like that his face-off percentage is 100. I bet he's taken like 1 or 2 draws. But I don't know. I'm not. We're 5 games in. Like we gotta calm down. We can't be hitting the alarm bells yet. That was a nice goal by Robertson. It was nasty. Sorry if I'm ahead of you.
No,
But
you're good. I don't
I
know
think
I don't know if I'm behind or not.
I think we got to chill with the Blake Wheeler slander here. Only 5 games in. I think he's got a ton of season left to turn it around. And at 800K, I'm willing to let him figure it out in the system and give him a little bit of time before we, pull the plug on the experiment and just give it a Jimmy VC full time.
Yeah, I mean that you're right. It is too early, but I need to find someone to complain about, and as of right now, it is. So
you can put it on Barclay Goodrow. I'm totally fine with that. Guy's 12 penalty minutes, and he just doesn't. You want to talk about somebody who does nothing? Guy's just skating out there. 3.625, I believe, to just skate. It's terrible. And again, going back to the video we made yesterday, somebody brought it to my attention. Goodrow the hate does not go unnoticed. We just don't vocalize it as much because it's apparent that most of the fans don't like him. It was only really good the first year, and then it's just going to get worse and worse every year. It's like Drury went in there with no negotiating ability. Goodrow said, "I want this and I want that," and Drury was like, "You can have it," and just gave it to him. There was no bargaining at all. Like it was just straight up, give him what he wants. And it's going to be one of the worst deals, not like one of the worst, but on the bottom spectrum of deals in the NHL in terms of the bottom 6. You can't be paying a guy on the 4th line $3.6 million. The Islanders are doing it, and look at what it's doing to them. Matt Martin and Clutterbuck are one of the worst skaters on their team, and they're both getting paid bank. I think Martin's actually on less now, but he was getting paid bank. And Casey Cizikas just got paid. That deal's not that bad, but you can't be paying 4th liners that. So sorry to go on my rant.
I mean, no, it's all good. You're absolutely right. Goodrow is absolutely terrible. And we have been more vocal on Wheeler, and I think it's just because he's more of like a recent addition that Rangers fans kind of had like a little bit of hope for. I kind of entered this season being like, I know that Goodrow is going to suck, and I'm not really expecting anything. And come the deadline when the Rangers need to clear cap space, I would not be shocked if he's the first man sent away. But we have a lot of comments flowing in, so I don't want you to take too long, but just quick thoughts on Goodrow so far.
Terrible. Just unnoticeable, bad. I knew he was going to be bad. I wanted him gone in the offseason. I know a lot of people wanted him gone in the offseason. It would have been smart to move him in the offseason. I don't think they could have, though, because that cap hit, like Colin said, 3.6 a year for a 4th liner is a lot of damn money. That's what you really want to pay for like a 3rd line guy that's actually going to contribute. And Goodrow just doesn't contribute enough for his AAV to be at 3.6. So I can see the Rangers trying to move him at the deadline. I don't know if it'll happen, but he's just been terrible to start this year. I think it's his worst start with the Rangers he's had in his 3rd season now.
I believe it is his 3rd. Someone can correct us in the chat if we are wrong, but both Wheeler and Goodrow have been pretty bad, but I don't really want to keep dwelling on the negatives. We're going into game time. I want to get hype. I don't want to, be like, yeah, man, we suck. So let's discuss this. What John says. How are you guys feeling about the system Laviolette is running? I'll let all 3 of us discuss this, but I do want to start because I think there are some positives and some negatives from it. I think overall Laviolette he's doing the right thing. He's doing what Gallant failed at. He's implementing a very hands-on system that's more structured, and there's like a lot of set ideas of how the game is going to be played. And it's rubbed off very good on a lot of players. We've seen incredible improvement from Zibanejad, from Kakko, from Lafreniere, even from all of the kids. Kreider looks even better somehow too. But then at the same time, there are other players like Braden Schneider. I think this is his weakest season so far yet. I don't want to say that he's looked bad, but it seems like he's having a little bit of trouble adjusting to this system. So I think overall, I do support the Laviolette system, but I think there are a handful of players that really need to give a little bit more work into it to really find their game and get more situated. But Colin, I'll let you go next and see how you're feeling about it.
I like it. I mean, it's tough so far because we haven't put together back-to-back games of competency. I think they need to buy in each and every night, and I think once we start to see that, if you look at the team, I mean, we have a Selke candidate in Mika Zibanejad, a Vezina candidate in Igor Shesterkin, a Norris candidate in Fox, and potentially Maurice Rocket Richard candidate with Kreider if he can hit 50 again. Do I think he's going to do that? Most likely not, but I like to be hopeful. But you take all those things. I mean, those are some of the top players in the league. And now you put together a team that can play at 5-on-5, which we haven't had in the past. I think the fact that we're, second as a team, only behind the Hurricane in 5-on-5 play, it speaks volumes. It just makes Gerard Gallant look borderline incompetent. And it shows how much he relied on the special teams. You put all those things that I just said with a team that can play at 5-on-5 and constantly bombard you. If they can figure it out and string together some games, I think that they are a very dangerous team. And I think that a lot of teams right now, I know speaking with some of my friends who are Islanders fans, are kind of discounting how good the Rangers can be just because of their early season struggles. And again, I feel like living in New York, everybody's just so, what have you done for me lately? And it's very critical. And I think through 5 games, a lot of teams are already sleeping on the Rangers. And, we're a sleeping giant. And you just got to wait for us to wake up. And I think we can really turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And, Will, I'm going to change it up really quick because I just did see this comment. How long till you think it's safe to say the Rangers will be at least somewhat comfortable with the new system? I think the Rangers are comfortable, that's the craziest thing. The Rangers are 3-2. We've alternated wins and losses to start the season through 5 games. But despite our record, the stats are there. The stats show that we're very, very good. Our first line and our third line are both in the top 5 for projected goals percentages. I'm pulling up a tweet from the @Fireside Rangers Instagram, so be sure to take a look at that. According to New York Rangers PR, the Rangers have spent the second most percentage of time in the offensive zone in the NHL with a 44.5% clip, and the third fewest time in the defensive zone at 37.8%. So we're scoring goals. We're spending time in the offensive zone. We're not spending much time in the defensive zone, yet we're still 3-2. So the stats are showing that we should be undefeated right now. What has gone wrong? What has caused these losses? And do you think it has to do with getting comfortable with the system, or is it just poor performances by specific players?
I think it's just still getting comfortable with the system. I mean, we've seen in 3 of the 5 games we've been dominant, and then two of the 5 games we've looked very bad. And obviously, I think we've only scored we scored 2 goals in the one against Columbus and then 1 against Nashville. But I think it's just still getting a little bit more comfortable with it. I mean, obviously there's 5 games played. It's probably going to take a couple more games, maybe maybe 1-2 more weeks for them to really get comfortable with it. But you can see that they're already somewhat comfortable. Like Artemi Panarin, I know he likes a hands-on coach. He looks phenomenal. I think this might be one of his best starts with the Rangers I think this is his 5th year. In his 5 years he's been here, he has 21 shots on goal through 5 games. I mean, that's nuts. Obviously shooting the puck a lot more. You're seeing the defense kind of looks a little rocky. In the 2 losses, it didn't look great, but in the 3 wins, it did look good. So I think the defense, it'll take a little bit longer for them to get comfortable, but the offense has looked like it's getting settled, and it is comfortable with Laviolette's system so far.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of adjustment, but I think overall Laviolette, he looks like a solid replacement. I would give him a positive review so far if I were Drury. And I'm very, very satisfied with what's going on. This is a fun question that we can discuss really quick. Logan asks, Troops lays out how many Flames tonight? I'm going to have to assume that number is going to be very, very high. I know me and Anthony, back when we were the only 2 running this channel, last season when Trouba was named captain, we were very critical on him. I didn't dislike Trouba, but I personally would have gone a different route as for who's the captain. I thought he made really poor defensive plays, didn't really contribute a lot of offense, and the only thing he did was cause controversy with his like questionable hits. But so far this season, through 5 games, I'm loving Trouba. He's quickly climbing my ranks as one of my favorite Rangers. I think he's playing a lot better. Yes, does he make bad plays every once in a while? Yeah, but I think overall his leadership, his physicality, his defense has greatly improved. So now that Colin and Will, you guys are like the next generation on this channel, like thoughts on Trouba so far?
I think that no matter how he plays, he will always be overpaid, and that's the tough part. And fans will always look at him for his dollar worth as opposed to what he brings. I think he's been very good this season. $8 million good? No, but very good. I think he's blocking a lot of shots. I don't think he's really been a huge liability in our zone. I think he's been solid at the points. I think that he's kind of bought into that system, and having the forwards back definitely improves his game and helps him to play his game. But I like Logan's question. I think it's how much of that drama from last season on the big hits on Kadri, and I forget who the other one was, whoever he steamrolled. Although, are we going to get some of that animosity carrying over into this season? I'm sure they remember. It was all over everything for a while. So I bet you that there may be a little carryover tonight. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, that is the only annoying part about Trouba. As much as I love when he lays someone out, it like does come back to bite you. I feel like Trouba is easily one of the most hated players in the NHL, besides anyone who's a Rangers fan. And people target him. So like, Will, kind of just like the same question for you. What are your thoughts on Trouba? Not only just this season, but last season, since being named captain, and his leadership abilities. Do you think him causing all of these controversies is bringing the Rangers down, or is it more of like a motivating, like, hell yeah, let's go type thing?
I think it's kind of like a hell yeah, let's go type thing. I know last year obviously we all know this, they didn't start off very good. And then in their game against the Blackhawks where they were down, I can't remember the score. He threw his helmet, and that kind of sparked the Rangers to, after that game, I think they went on a 7-game win streak. And a lot of people were clowning him on that, but that's kind of what you need to do to spark a team. When they're down, he has a big hit, and it kind of sparks a team as well again. But for every big hit, there seems like there is a bad play or a misread or just a miscue. He has a defensive miscue. But this year, I think he's had a very good start to the season. I think last year he was also injured and playing through something, which obviously when you play injured, you're not going to play at your best because you're not fully healthy. You're not going to be able to do everything you can do. But I was also very critical about him being named captain because I thought it was going to be Kreider. I thought it should have been Kreider, and I think it still should be Kreider, but obviously it's not. It's going to be Trouba, but he's been fine to start the season. Not $8 million fine, but he's been a lot better than he was last year.
Yeah. And before I move on to the next couple of questions, I will say that, yes, right now, am I satisfied with Trouba as captain? Of course. But, you said you expected it to be Kreider. I was always a very big Zibanejad advocate. That was just my personal opinion. Colin, who did you think was going to be captain before Troubs?
For a while, I thought it was going to be Kreider. There was reports that Kreider turned it down. I know they looked at Panarin, but he doesn't speak a lot of English, so that's
why
also
he
tough.
turned it down.
And I know Panarin also had a quote that said he doesn't need a letter to lead. But I think he might have turned it. I think Kreider and Zibanejad both turned it down.
I don't know about Zibanejad. I know Panarin did. There was an interview clip of him where someone asked, like, what are your thoughts on you being named captain? And he was just like, with his like little Russian accent, like, I no speak English. I'm not good leader. Like,
is that what he said?
It's not exactly what he said.
A rough translation.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this right now. I know his Russian accent makes him so much funnier.
I know.
It makes him so much funnier.
And it's like my favorite Panarin video was during some off season when he was just like, "Hi Rangers fans, I miss you guys."
I have that video saved on my phone.
I do as well. I love Panarin. For those who don't know, he's both Will and I's favorite players. I don't even know who Collins is at this point.
It varies. Probably, I'd like to say Kreider just because he's been around the longest, but it's hard to not give all of my love to the goalies. I love Tank and I love Igor now.
Yeah, I think we're at a point where, I will dog on Wheeler and I will dog on Goudreau, but I don't think there's a single Rangers player that I dislike at this moment in time. I know the last Ranger that I hated, and like capital H, was Ryan Strome. Like long-term fans of this channel will know that, because I would dog on him every single episode, even if we were talking about nothing related to him. But him and Mark Stahl will always be like my two worst enemies
Oh,
when it comes to the New York Rangers.
I will never understand the Mark Stahl hate.
Yeah, we'll get into it another time. We got a lot of comments here that I want to go through. BV asks, what are your guys' opinions on Lafreniere? Do you see potential? I think so far he looks very, very good. In 5 games, he only has 2 points, both his goals, one in the first game, one in the most recent one. But despite that point total, he's looked very, very strong. There's definitely been a couple of plays where, if the NHL had different rules, he probably should have gotten an assist where he like created the plays. And he's been in a lot of puck battles. He's looked confident, and I'm satisfied with it. You know how like last year we were very confident in Kakko, where we were like, he looks really good. He just has really bad luck and the points haven't come in yet. I think we're at that stage of Lafreniere development at this point, where like, if it doesn't happen this year, which I hope it does, and I think it just might, at least next year, he's going to do something big. So big. Colin, I see you're eating, so I'm going to go to Will first and ask your thoughts on Lafreniere.
He's looked good. I thought he should have had 2 points in that game against Buffalo. Obviously the first goal, and then Panarin's goal. I know that he didn't touch the puck and it went off a Sabre stick, but he made that play. And then obviously against the Blue Jackets, he was offside on the Hedel goal, but he's been playing. His defensive game has been a lot better than in recent years. It looks like, he's really trying. He's skating hard. He has a little bit more confidence and more swagger in his game. I noticed, he's making those cross ice passes, and the goal against the Kraken in the last 3 years, I don't think Lafreniere would have scored that goal. I think he would have shot it off the post, or just would have shot it high, and it would have gone into the netting, and obviously, they would have whistled play dead. But he's looked a lot better, and he's creating chances, and you really can see potential in his game. It's kind of like you said, Kakko last year. We're at that point where he looks good. We're confident in his game, and it's just a matter of time before he starts putting pucks in the net and and getting some assists and getting on the score sheet on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree with you. Now, Colin, whatever you're eating must be delicious, because you just took like 30 bites. And
it's Chick-fil-A, man. It's too good. Being in New York, I don't get Chick-fil-A a ton. There's only 2 on Long Island.
Really? Oh, there's one in Center Reach, because I've been there.
I'm mucking on this right now.
All right, so take like a 15-second breather from the chicken and give me your thoughts on Lafreniere.
I think he's looked good. I think that what Will said is putting it perfectly. I think that he's looked strong in his games. I think he did deserve a couple of assists, and I think he's getting a lot more credit from the coaching staff than he did last year. I think a big part of it is just the way that they coach. Obviously, is very different. Gerard Gallant kept the kids on a short leash, and it didn't really allow for a ton of creativity, because if it didn't end up working out, they would get benched. It was like, what are you doing? Why would you even try that? Whereas now, Laviolette, as long as you're playing well defensively, allows you to kind of go and figure it out and create chances at the expense of potentially having a rush the other way, as long as you're capable in your own zone. It won't lead to a goal. You know what I mean? So it allows for more fun plays to happen, and things like Lafreniere going between the legs, and the little more dangerous passes that he's known for making. I mean, he was drafted for his playmaking ability, but then you handcuff him by saying, all right, now only make safe plays. That's just not going to happen. The way you score high quality chances is to take like low quality passes, because you're not expecting them to get through. So I think that the kids all have a little bit longer of a leash this season and a little bit more creativity to play with, and I think they're doing just that.
I just want to go off what Colin said. I'm sorry to cut you off, Eric, but I agree with you, Colin. Like, if Lafreniere, obviously in the first game he looked good, and then the 3 games after that, not including the Kraken game where he had a goal, he was slow. He would have been taken off that second line. Hedel only had 1 point 1 point in the 4 games before the Kraken game. He would have been taken off. Kako, he probably would have been taken off too. You know, you see them, they're having slow starts of the season, not slow starts in, regard to their game, but like slow starts in point totals. And it's really nice to see Laviolette actually trusting them and putting them on this longer leash where you guys might not be scoring, every single night, and you might not have your best game every single night, but I'm going to leave you up on that line. And I think that's what's going to contribute to them having a lot of confidence this year, is the coach having confidence in them. Because I think in any league, in any sport, any level of a sport, if your coach has confidence in you, you're going to have confidence in yourself and you're going to play a lot better.
Yeah, of course. All of the kids were buried down in the bottom 6 for all of their career. Laviolette is like their 3rd coach, I believe, that is finally giving them the chance. It took way too long, but I'm very satisfied. It kind of seems like the 2 of you are as well. Before we move on, I just know, because Colin, you exposed yourself for eating Chick-fil-A. We got someone say, chomp, chomp, yummy Chick-fil-A. BV says, Colin, save me some. But we got about like 20 minutes left in the live stream, because, we're going to want to get ourselves situated with getting ready for the game, which we'll be covering throughout all of our social medias at Fireside Rangers. So be sure to check those out as well during the game for goal recaps and updates and news and more. But let's there's a lot of comments that we haven't touched upon. Let's be
let's rapid fire them.
A little hasty with this. 30 seconds max each. How do you think Igor is playing? I think Igor is playing pretty good. He's coming into Calgary having never beaten them. He's also coming off a 4-1 loss to Nashville. Quick was playing against Seattle. So Igor does have a little redemption tour going on right now, trying to get his first career win in Calgary and trying to bounce back. I'm very confident. He's looked good. His record doesn't really show it, but I am happy about how he's played.
I'm not too worried. Also, do you know who asked that question, Eric? It was Carter.
Was it? I didn't see.
For those out there, Carter's my brother. So, I think he's looked sharp. I just think that he's kind of been left out to dry. I think you look at that Columbus game. I think he played a good game. I think he made a couple saves that he had no business making. But I think somebody mentioned it earlier. I think that a lot of people, or a lot of the plays and goals that were scored on him were odd man rushes and breakaways, and it was just defensive lapses. And I think a part of it was the way that Gerard Gallant kind of operated the team, is he had defensemen joining the rush like no problem and cycling low and things like that. And that's a big reason why we kind of struggled at 5-on-5 and things like that. I think that that was early on, and they're still trying to buy into the Laviolette system and figure it out. And I think now that they've kind of gotten a little more comfortable, I think they're getting better at limiting those chances. I think they looked really good against the Kraken and really helped Jonathan Quick out. And I know we were all very critical of him in the preseason, so it was good to see him come out and play well. But the team helped him out, so hopefully they'll do the same thing tonight, and we'll get our first win streak of the season going.
Of course. And Will, about that consistency, like the win-loss, 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 how do the Rangers break that curse that's going on right now?
I don't know. They break the curse by me wearing jerseys, because the 3 games I've worn jerseys, we've won, and the 2 games I haven't, we lost. But in all honesty, I think it's just play. In the 3 games that we've won, the defense has looked really good, and in the 2 games we've lost, the defense has looked bad. So I think in order to make it consistent, win, couple losses here and there, but the defense has to play better. It has to play better night in and night out. You have to limit the lapses. I know that's easier to say than it is, but you got to limit those lapses. You can't have as many odd man rushes, because that's what even Laviolette said, that there was too many odd man rushes in that game against Columbus. I know there were a couple odd man rushes in that game against the Predators, but you got to limit those. You got to make sure you're getting back. You got to make the right plays. The defense just has to play better if they want to keep winning consistently night in and night out.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. This next one I'm going to bring up, right? we just recently, it's our second most recent video discussing Patrick Kane and recent rumors that the Rangers were interested in a return from him. Robert says, bring Kane back ASAP. Matt says that Kane feels like he has unfinished business in New York. We've already expressed our thoughts on it, and we're really behind on comments. So I'm going to just say one word answer, yes or no, from all of us. Should the Rangers bring Patrick Kane back? I say yes.
I'm so torn. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no.
Will?
Depends.
I like that answer more than
Was
this.
it an option?
No, then no.
I'm gonna say
Right.
no.
And if you guys want
Okay,
more
no.
information on our thoughts on Patrick Kane, be sure to go check out our second most recent episode discussing him. As the rumors continue to develop, we'll obviously discuss it more, but we're a little low on time and there's a lot of comments to go through. I don't want to sound like I'm just like shamelessly plugging our previous videos, but I'm trying to make sure that all of you guys' voices are heard. Roderick says that he needs consistency. I agree. Alternating win, loss. It's not going to get the Rangers anywhere. Joe Panzarino in the chat here says, what do you think the deadline looking like? Which, I'm not sure because
it's hard to tell now.
Hmm?
It's hard to tell now. It's just too early. It depends on whether
it's a little too early. We have these obvious flaws within the first 5 games, like we talked about earlier. Goudreau, horrible. Wheeler, rough start. So maybe if that continues, they'll be moved. But the Rangers are probably going to be buyers once again. We're going to want to strengthen our lineup. But given the cap situation, don't expect anything like last year where we just go all in on Tarasenko, all in on Kane, like all these big name players, because we don't have the financial abilities to make it happen.
I could see us trading for a defenseman.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I think Gustafsson is gonna. I like Gustafsson, and Laviolette loves the guy. But I don't really love what I've seen from him in our own zone so far. I think that he's a glorified fourth forward in some instances. So I'd like to see somebody a little bit more defensive minded in that third pairing to help Schneider kind of anchor his game.
Yeah, and I can see that too. I need to clear the air really quick because BV says, Eric, why are you not wearing Rangers merchandise this game night? What are we doing? I'm going to explain something real quick, BV. Artemi Panarin, we're all wearing Panarin tonight. That's the theme. But my Panarin jersey is cursed, and every time I wear it, the Rangers lose. So although I'm not wearing a jersey, I am wearing a Breadman t-shirt because this shirt is not cursed. So I appreciate the concern because any Rangers fan, especially one that runs a podcast about them, would be crazy for not wearing anything Rangers related on a game night. But I assure you, although it's not a jersey, I am wearing it. But all right. Let's see. Matt also says on the topic of jerseys that he's got his reverse retro Kako on right now.
Yes, sir.
I own a Kako jersey. It's not reverse retro. I don't have any reverse retro. I've always wanted to have one, but I've just never had the funds.
The only reverse retro I own is a Calgary Flames, the Fire Horse. I think his name is Blasty or something like that. I have that. That's the only reverse retro I have. I just love the classic Rangers jerseys. I don't even have any away jerseys. All my jerseys are home jerseys.
Damn.
See, I don't trust myself. I'm constantly eating Chick-fil-A apparently, so I don't want to get sauce on my jerseys.
See, I have
white ones.
I have 3 away jerseys. I got this reverse retro. I woke up at 2:45 the morning that they dropped on Adidas.com because I missed out on the reverse retro 1.0, and I'm like, I'm not missing out. So I got it, sent it somewhere, got it stitched. I like the home jerseys, but I'm more of an away jersey. I like the shoulder stripes a lot. I am more of an away jersey person than a home jersey, but I do love the homes, but I love the aways more.
That is fair. I think the Rangers have some of the best jerseys in the league, in my opinion. BV back with the W shirt. Thank you, BV. The 3D Creeper, who I know is a returning viewer. I recognize that name. So I appreciate the consistent support, especially a lot of you guys like Roderick. I know you've been a returning viewer a lot too. But the 3D Creeper asks, what do you guys think the Metro will look like by the end? Again, the same thing with everything. it's too early to tell. It's only been 5 out of 82. But what I will say, the most shocking start to me is Philly, where, everyone, any analyst, us, anyone who watches hockey would have projected New Jersey, Carolina, Rangers somewhere in the top 3. Order could be rearranged any way whatsoever, but we were like the top dogs. Everyone else were like fringe wildcard teams. But Philly was really expected to be bad, and they are coming in hot. I think they're like 3-1-1 or something like that, going up against the undefeated Golden Knights tonight. So I'll be sure to be checking on that score as well. But I don't know. It is still too early to tell. You can always expect who your top teams in the division are going to be, but you can never account for a potential sleeper pick like Philly. The Islanders aren't even that bad this season too, record-wise. You know how I feel about them personally, but
I feel like their record also hasn't been that tough so far. It's about to get real tough, so this will be a telling time. I think they're struggling tonight, but they're somehow tied. They're getting lit up, like shot-wise, by the Avs, but they're still winning. I mean, my friend wanted me to shout them out. Holmstrom apparently just scored. I didn't see it because I don't care about the Islanders, but to be in it with a team like the Avalanche, it's impressive because they're also a cup favorite. But I mean, hockey is any team's game, especially this early. It's wide open. I mean, you said it best. Columbus is tied for second right now. We're tied for second with Carolina. Philly's first, and they've looked good through their first 5. So, I mean, it could just be scheduling, or they could be legit. There's really no way of knowing until we get a little further in the season and we see what they got going on.
I think the only thing that's guaranteed is that the Metropolitan is probably the best division in hockey. I'm looking at tonight's scores right now. Carolina is down 2-0 to Tampa, but they have a power play coming up. Tampa's without Vasilevsky. So anything can happen there. The Devils are up 3-1. The Penguins are only down by a goal. The Islanders are up on the Avalanche. The Blue Jackets are winning.
A weird, wacky league.
It's
anybody can win on any given night.
Of course. All right. I'm going to keep going through these really quick. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the comments. We are so far behind with only like 10 minutes left to go. Matt says he's going to get a Fox jersey soon. I think that would go kind of hard. I don't have a Fox jersey yet, but it's on my list. Here we go. Matt says, should we re-sign Ryan Lindgren? Will, I want to go to you on this one. I'm not really caught up on the whole contract thing because the season just started. Is Lindgren going to be a RFA or a UFA after the season?
He's a UFA. I think he's 26. Pretty sure. See, the thing is, I really do love Ryan Lindgren, but we saw what happened with Dan Girardi, and that contract turned out to be terrible after we gave it to him. So it's like,
I mean, he took a puck to the face, to be fair. His play only really dropped off after a severe injury.
I mean,
you're right.
But it still wasn't the best contract, and I don't know if I'd give him 7 years. I might only give him 5 or so. If it's 7, I don't know. Like I said, I probably wouldn't do that.
He's an RFA again. He just has arbitration.
But I love Lindgren, and
Will's gone again.
We lost Will again. I'm going to take this opportunity to say that Will is wrong and that I love Ryan. Oh, he's back.
Oh, come on. I come back to you saying I'm wrong. Damn.
I love Ryan Lindgren. I think he's the best. Yes, is Adam Fox the most talented of the defensemen? Yes. But I think that Ryan Lindgren is the backbone of that decor, even more than Trouba. I think he's the most physical. He's the most gritty. He plays the best defense overall. And it's been statistically proven throughout multiple games that when the Rangers have him, we win more. When they don't have him, we lose more. So I think you look at the Girardi situation, that might put a little fear in you. But I think the Rangers would be foolish to ever not re-sign Ryan Lindgren.
I concur. I think that he does so much for this team. He's still only 25 years old. He's just now getting into the prime of his career, and he's done so much. I think what Joe Panzarino just said in the chat is the best way to put it. Fox is only Fox because Lindgren is around. I think that's so true. I think that Lindgren's play allows Fox to do what he needs to do. I think that Fox would be pissed off if we let him go. And I don't want to
Exactly.
see a guy like Lindgren go anywhere else.
If Lindgren wasn't as defensive as he was, Fox would not have the ability to be as offensive as he is, which therefore, in turn, the tribe has spoken. You have been exiled.
That's final thoughts. I take it back. I'd give him a 7-year deal. Take it
That's
back.
why the Wi-Fi cut out. We're like, we can't have this Lindgren blasphemy.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi cut out because it was God giving me a second chance to redeem myself. I'm back. My
Of
flame's
course.
not out.
All right. I know there's a lot of comments we haven't touched upon. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to get to all of them tonight. We appreciate everyone that tuned in, and we will be sure to go through all of them afterwards and respond. But there is about 10 minutes left, so we're going to start to wrap things up soon.
I want to give a quick shout out to all my Oswego boys in chat. I see you guys lighting it up. Appreciate the views. Appreciate being here.
Of course, and very much appreciated to everyone who joined us. As we head into the final 10 minutes of the stream, we're going to start going through our final score predictions and breakdowns and stuff like that. So be sure to drop your score predictions. I'll have them flashing across the screen, and I am very curious to see what you all think is going to happen. I guess as always, I'll go first. The Rangers have had a win-loss win ratio throughout the season so far, but I think something changes tonight. I think that win against Seattle was very dominant. I think they have the momentum to build upon. And although it's a road game, Calgary still isn't the best team despite having a decent amount of talent. So I think the Rangers will come out with a win, but I think it's going to be a little closer than we're used to. I'm going to give it like a solid 3-2 victory, maybe even an overtime victory, but I think it will be a 1-goal victory.
Yeah, I could see that. I think you're sleeping on Calgary a little bit. I think they had the most overtime or 1-goal losses last year, and they still almost snuck into the playoffs. Yeah, they lost a lot of overtime games last year, and they still managed to just barely miss. So I think they're a solid squad. Huberdeau in a down year still put up a decent number of points. I think he'll bounce back and do well. And Nazem Kadri's a force. They got good players on that team. I agree with you with the 3-2 win. I don't know about overtime, but I'm hoping it's not. Just because I can't take the stress of overtime. But I think 3-2 is a good guess.
All right, this is kind of funny though. All right, where to go? Roger said the Foxwoods final 10. That was kind of funny. But yeah, Will, what about you?
I'm going 4-2. I'm going Panarin. This is my parlay. Panarin, Wheeler, Goodrow, and Bonino. Bonino's going to get an empty netter.
Goodrow.
Really? You're really high on that Bonino goal.
I want to see another bald man score a goal. I'm like, now that Panarin's bald, I need like the bald men to score.
Of course. Roger's here. He just said a buddy of mine from work has a buddy who is playing goalie for the Flames ECHL team. He was Union's goalie last few years. That's actually an extremely cool connection, Roger. Feel free to DM me on Instagram if he ever wants to hop on the pod. Just let me know. Always down to have some people on the guest star. Matt predicts that the second line will shine again tonight. I'm going to have to agree there. Panarin, he's the GOAT. Lafreniere's been playing well. Heedle's coming off an insane game. I can only imagine that the second line is going to do something crazy. Roger says that, isn't it? Connor Murphy.
Connor.
As we start to wrap things up, though, Matt asks, do you guys think Othman will be up by Christmas? I think it's entirely dependent on an injury. I think the Rangers are being very careful about his development. They want him to get top 6 minutes in the AHL and wait until he can receive top 6 minutes in the NHL. And unless someone has a injury, I don't think anyone would be sent down in terms of a Othman replacement. It would have to be Kakko out for 2 weeks and then slide Othman up on the first line, I think Colin, I think you feel the same way, right?
I think that they're more likely to just put VC up or one of those depth guys up or slide one of the wingers up and put VC in. I really, really think they're trying to take it slow with Othman. And I said this earlier, and I responded to somebody's comment on the last video. Othman and Perot, I think that they're going to really take their time and try and get rid of that stigma that they can't develop. I think they have two really, really good talents on their team right now. And I think they recognize that, and they're not trying to rush it like they did with Kako and Loff, because now everybody's so critical of them, and they definitely are trying their best to block out the noise, but it's tough, especially being that young in one of the biggest markets in sports. New York is one of, if not the biggest market in sports. So being that young, leaving your family to come and play here, it's got to be difficult. I think it's hard to block out all that noise. So I think they're going to try and let them gain some confidence and get some minutes in the bottom or in the top six in the AHL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're about to wrap things up. So I'm just going to flash through these last couple of comments that I haven't touched upon just yet. Matt predicts that Kako is going to make some sick plays tonight. We obviously hope so. BV once again predicts a Mika hat trick. That would be very, very nice to see. And then Matt says Will Cooley also might fight tonight. That would be pretty entertaining to say the least. But that's pretty much the rest of the comments we're going to be answering. We're about to hit an hour. Game time is almost upon us. I'm very confident in this Rangers team. I think we're going to predict and just earn a very good win tonight. But before we start to end things, do either of you, Colin or Will, have any final remarks to say before we head into this game?
I think we gotta chill. I know somebody said it earlier. Chill with the Blake Wheeler hate. I know not a lot of people are, but he's gonna figure it out. I'm talking to you, Eric, mainly. I think he's gonna figure it out. I think you gotta give the guy some time. I'm confident in what this team can do. I think they just have to put it all together. Because I mean, you look at it, we're confident. We're really critical of Lafreniere. He's been nothing but great. We're critical of Quick. He looks fantastic in that game against the Kraken. You know, I think we just need to let players settle into their environments and let them figure it out and see what the end result is. And at the end of the season, we can look back and perhaps be critical if the situation calls for it. But I think we gotta settle down, enjoy the ride. Somebody said it earlier in a comment, enjoy the ride. You know, we're contenders now. Our window is now. Just enjoy it and try to find the positives and kind of let things play out.
Will, any final thoughts?
I think this is Cugino. I think on TikTok it goes settle down. Yeah, it's 5 games. We got to settle down a little bit with Wheeler. You know, he's obviously it's not what we want him. I know this. He hasn't really been in a third line role. Like it's really a checking line more than a scoring line in his career. So it might take him some, a little to get used to. But I think it'll settle out, and I think he'll be fine. You know, we signed him for $800,000, so it doesn't really matter what he does. It's still a bargain deal. But I think he'll figure it out, and he's gonna start producing here soon.
Yep. I think the biggest takeaway from the stream. Oh, I gotta respond to this real quick. Eric Wheeler alone. It's not Strome settled down. You are right. I think that is the biggest takeaway of this stream is that it is still very early on. The Rangers have only played 5 games. There's another 77 left to play. Or something like that. I can't do math that quick in my head. I'm a hockey player, not a mathematician. But yeah, so hopefully the Rangers will be able to pick up a nice win tonight. But even if they don't, I'm not going to make any crazy judgment calls until we're at least 10 games through the season. But we'll be sure to cover this game throughout its entirety on all of our social media accounts at Fireside Rangers on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. So be sure to follow those. And then later tonight, we'll be writing post-game articles about what we saw on EmpireSportsMedia.com, as well as uploading a post-game recap tomorrow morning on this channel on YouTube. So you can really pretty much find us anywhere. But until then, everyone, enjoy the game. Be sure to check out all of our socials, and we will catch you all in the next one. Have a good one. And as always,
let's go Rangers.
Let's go Rangers.
Also, whoever said great Star Trek reference, I did not mean to do that. I do not watch Star Trek.